If you ask most people if they know the difference between right or wrong, most people would say yes. Now, my experiences tells me they don't. Most people don't know the difference between right and wrong. And the more persistent they are in communicating that they do, the less they do, actually. And in fact, the Bible teaches us the same thing. First of all, some of the last things Jesus said on the cross when he was crucified was, "Father, forgive them, because they know not what they have done." Right? So Jesus flat out said, they don't know the difference between right and wrong. Because obviously crucifying Jesus was wrong. I mean, today, everybody can easily agree with that statement. So where did this feeling come from that we know the difference between right and wrong? Well, in order to explain that, we actually got to go back to the very first chapter of the Bible, where Adam and Eve was living in the Garden of Eden, in paradise, on earth, not up there, on earth. They were in paradise. And they were told to not eat from one single tree, everything else they could eat from. And I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think God told them why, ever either. He just said, don't eat, you know. He didn't explain why, he just said, don't eat from that tree. And that tree was called the tree of knowledge, right? Then comes the serpent, and he whispers to them, if you eat from that tree, you will become like God, and you will know the difference between right and wrong. Now, what's the serpent known for? He's a liar! He's a liar! What makes you think he told the truth? You know, for all we know, maybe the reasons why God didn't want us to eat from the tree of knowledge was because we'd get pimples. We have no reasons to believe that we know the reasons why God didn't want us to eat from that tree. The only thing we know is that the Prince of Lie told us we would know the difference between right and wrong. And he told us we would be like God. Now, what does those two things result in? A judgmental character. Someone who is willing to judge others because he believes that he knows the difference between right and wrong. He knows what sin is. He knows what you shouldn't do. He knows who deserves to go to hell and who deserves to go to heaven. I'm here to tell you, you don't know the difference between right or wrong. And to be quite honest with you, yes, I am angry. Because that fake belief makes you judge everyone around you. Often. Not always, but often. The reasons, the belief in that you know the difference between right and wrong is what justifies ISIS and Al-Qaeda to decapitating and murdering infidels. It is the belief that justified the Crusades, making the Crusaders believe that they were going to fight the Antichrist. It is what justified the witch hunts, such that they could burn women, innocent women, on bonfires in the millions. That was what justified the crusade. Guess what? All of those guys believed they were doing the right thing. They were looking at themselves as the right hand of God. I've been to jail. Also in America, where there was a guy there who had killed 9 people. And these were just the murders he had been convicted for. He probably had killed twice as many. Now, when I met him, he was an old, wiser man, right? And he had served 35 years in prison for these murders. However, back when he was 20 years old and he committed these murders, he believed he was doing the right thing. You want to know where you find the strongest believer in that they know the difference between right and wrong? In jails. In jails. Those are the people with the most insane convictions of that they know the difference between right and wrong. So they have a divine right to punish those around them and to judge them. Now, when I told my thing about the iPhone, one of my previous videos, then I told you to document sin. Document. Observe. Witness. I did not tell you to judge. I did not tell you to judge. You see, when you judge another man, you are committing arguably the only sin that exists according to the Bible. And that is to believe that you are God. And when you do, you build yourself a throne in the heavens above God. And who does that according to the Bible? Satan. Satan is the only one who builds a throne above God in heaven. God is the only judge on Judgment Day. That doesn't mean we should tolerate, rapes and murders and, thefts and stuff like that. No, sometimes, I'm a Norwegian and we have this Anders Behring Breivik guy, right? He killed 77 children, mostly. There were 10 adults or so, but most of the people he killed were children. Obviously, we have to stop the guy, right? And the guy has also clearly communicated in his manifest and probably to the prison guards too, I don't even know. But the guy has clearly communicated that he wants to do it again if he's given the opportunity. He does not regret his actions. And paradoxically, when you read his manifest, the guy's a fucking hero, according to himself. He's the fucking hero of the story. He didn't perceive himself as the bad guy. He thought he was doing God's will. Just like Muhammad, Atta, when he killed 3,000 Americans. And so on. But we all have kind of to some extent, a feeling of what type of people we want to surround ourselves with, right? So if you walk the earth and you document everything, every atrocity you see, right? Then those who are doing things that they don't want the rest of the world to observe that they are doing, they will run away from you. They will stop harming you. They will hide. They will run away from you. I am probably known in Norway among some people as the most judgmental guy that ever lived in Norway. I mean, at least that's the rumors about me in some circles. However, that was actually never my intention. I never did anybody physical harm. I never stole. I never murdered anybody. I never raped anybody. I simply documented what I saw other people around me do. And I documented it in such a way that I told the world. I didn't tell the police or the government because I simply don't trust them with the truth. However, I told my friends, I told everyone who wanted to listen, okay, this guy did that and that and that and that. This guy did that and that and that and that. And sometimes these were rapes, sometimes these were, you know, I'm not going to give you the list. If you know me, you know what I'm talking about. You see, that's the entrance back into paradise, the realization of that you don't know the difference between right and wrong. That was what made me survive in an American immigration prison, surrounded by mass murderers, literally, because I did not judge them. Not once did I judge any of them. I always respected them. I looked them into the eyes. I didn't bring my Norwegian cultural baggage with me. If I had done that, they would have eaten me alive. You know, I did not judge them. And that made them trust me. That gave me the ability to influence these people. I know for a fact that at least one person in that prison is today a better man. Thanks to me. He quit his gang, he moved to his grandma, he finished high school, and he got a job. Thanks to me. Because I didn't judge him. I listened to him. I allowed him to speak to me, and I told him what I felt was, you know, the right thing. And I told him, you know what, I don't believe it's right to walk around and murder people. Those are my beliefs. I mean, obviously you have self-defense, right? But in general terms, you know, it's probably a good thing to, like, not kill people, right? So the entrance back to paradise is the realization of that you don't know the difference between right and wrong. You are not God. You have no authority to judge. And that goes for the judges too. Nobody has the authority to judge. However, of course, sometimes we need to, like, protect society from people, right? Such as Anders Behring Breivik, for instance, obviously. I mean, I'm very glad that he is in prison, you know. But if you judge him, you're committing the original sin. Because the Garden of Eden is here and now. A Jewish rabbi once was asked the question, could you explain the flood of sins? He said, yeah, sure, it's easy. The flood of sin is an analogy for something that is going on all the time. It is happening today. And if you don't see that, then you are one of the people whom are drowning. And where does all sin come from? Comes from the belief in that you are God and that you know the difference between right and wrong, which leads to the phony belief in that you have the right to judge others. You don't. You're allowed to disagree with others. You're allowed to engage with them in a mature conversation to communicate your beliefs, but you are not allowed to judge. If you do, you are Satan.